name is Shelley. I'm a physiotherapist here at the Society, and welcome to the first session of our balance exercise series. I think there are a couple of people here who I can see from the name list that probably hasn't been to our exercise classes before. So our balance exercise series is our lower intensity and low impact class. So this is a slower paced class than some of the other classes we have to offer. And so this balance class is really targeted for those who are frequent fallers and those who may be having issues mobilizing around the home without a gait aid, or if you aren't using a gait aid, if you're having some issues with balance, this class is for you. So the way the class will be structured is we're going to start in a seated position, and we will do a warm-up in sitting, and then we will move to a standing position and practice some different weight shifting, agility type of activities. And so because it is a balance class specific for those who are frequent fallers, I do recommend that you grab a chair or a table or someone nearby to help support you during this class, because we want to be as safe as possible, and I don't want anyone to actually fall in the class. So just be mindful of your abilities, and if you need to hold on, absolutely fine. If you don't want to hold on for the exercise class, that's okay as well, but just bear in mind to work with your current abilities. We want to be as safe as possible. So we don't have any special equipment that you need for the class. I do have a tissue box here beside me, so empty tissue box, and then a yoga block that's pretty much the same size as the tissue box. So if you did have 2 tissue boxes in your home that you can use, that would be wonderful for today's step in practice. But of course, by all means, you don't need to have a tissue box. You can definitely use no equipment in the class as well. The tissue box might just add a bit of an extra challenge when you have something physical to sort of step over. So today we are on the Zoom platform, but it is a webinar platform, which means that you can see me in a large video, but I won't be able to see you. I will be able to see you type in the chat box, or if you did have any questions, you're welcome to raise your hand, and at which point you can actually speak with your microphone. But the reason we have it in the webinar platform is just because the balance classes is quite large, and so if we did have everyone's videos come up, I wouldn't be able to see you anyway, and it'd probably be a bit distracting for everyone having the pictures jump around. But of course, with that said, I will try to give modifications as much as I can throughout the class. If you did have any questions about any of the exercises, you are welcome to type in the chat box or use the raise hand function, and I will do my best to modify more according to whatever may be more suitable. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for me. Oh, and today's session is recorded, same with the rest of the class of the series. So if you want to revisit the class at any point, please feel free to do so on our YouTube channel. If you're not sure where to find that, please send an email to us and I can send you the YouTube link if you want to revisit this. Now, the most important thing with balance training is that we're remembering that in terms of simulating a real life environment for balance activities, we do want to do most things standing. So even though we are starting seated as a bit of a warm-up, we will do the rest of the class in a standing position. So do your best to follow along. You'll see lots of weight shifting type activities, lots of moving your base of support, your center of gravity over your base of support, which is sort of what we tend to want to work on in a balance class. Okay, so follow along. Let me have a stand up and I'll move back to my chair. So I'm just sitting in a chair without any armrests. You're of course welcome to sit in any chair you've got at home, but ideally no wheelie chairs. So none of these, no wheelchairs, ideally, because it will move around. So you want a chair that's nice and stable. Okay, so we're going to sit to the front of our chair. So we're not going to be slouching back. We're going to shuffle forward in the chair and get both feet onto the floor. We're going to start with our warm-up, and we're just going to let the arms dangle by our side, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to start by marching on the spot. And as you march here, we're going to roll the shoulders back in a circle, and you're going to try to stay up as tall as you can as you're lifting those legs up and circling the shoulders back. So remember, today's class, our balance series, is our low impact, low intensity class. So we'll be a little slower pace. However, if you find anything we're doing today still to be too quick, that's okay. You're welcome to slow it down, okay? If you are looking for a higher intensity class, then you can check out some of our other listings, and especially the boxing class starting tomorrow on Wednesday. Okay, keep going with those legs. We're now going to circle the shoulders forward. So we're rolling the shoulders forward this time. And we're still trying to sit up nice and tall. So we're not doing this as we're circling, but we're keeping our chest up, sitting nice and tall, big circles with the shoulders. Keep lifting those legs up nice and high. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. We're going to place our hands onto our legs. And now we're going to take a big step out to the side, circle our arms out, noticing my fingers are wide open. And then we're going to bring the leg back in, circle the arms in. And we'll do the same on the other side. Big lift, circle the arms out. Big lift, circle the arms in. So as we're doing this stepping out and in movement, we want to make sure we're actually lifting the legs off the floor, and we don't want to be doing this kind of dragging position. We want to do a big lift on the way out and on the way in. Nicely done. Keep that chest up nice and tall. Try not to get into the slouch position. We want to keep ourselves nice and tall over our sit bones. We're just getting some movement into the arms and legs to get us warmed up for the standing portion of the class. Nicely done. Spread those fingers nice and wide. See how far you can reach those arms and how far you can step that leg out to the side. Chest open. Nicely done. We're going to go for last 8 here. We're going to go 8, 7, 6, 5, nice and tall, 4, 3, 2, last 1. Good. This time, sitting up nice and tall again, we're going to slide that leg forward to show me the bottom of your foot. We're straightening that knee. And at the same time, we are going to rotate our body to the side. So the opposite arm to the leg is lined up. Okay, my back arm is here. And then I come back down. Same to the other side. Open those fingers. We're going to open the chest. We're rotating out to the side and back in. Sitting up nice and tall as we're doing this. Shoulders away from the ears. Nicely done. Nice and tall. You're trying to turn to the side, so you're rotating and you're moving. You're leading the movement with your breastbone, and you're turning to the side, letting your gaze follow the direction your chest is rotating. Nicely done. Arms up, shoulders away from the ears. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last 1, and rest. Okay, I'm going to turn sideways for a second. You stay where you are. We're going to do a bit of a stretch now. So for this one, we're going to lean back into the chair. So a moment ago, we were trying to sit up nice and tall over our hips. But this time, we're leaning back into the chair. So we're slouching now. The only time we're doing the slouch. We're going to bring the hands up behind your head if you can. If you can't, that's okay. Just keep your arms here onto your chest. But if you can, bring those hands up behind your ears, behind your head. And what we're going to do here, keeping your feet on the floor, we're going to lean back, arching up and over the chair so you get a nice big stretch across the back and the chest. Just be careful not to tip the chair. Make sure you're on something stable. And then we're going to come back up again. You can drop the arms for a second if you like, and then bring them back out. So we're still in the slouched position, leaning back. Open those arms out. And then again, we're going up and over the back of the chair, being careful not to tip all the way back, not to tip the chair backwards. Okay, holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming up. Drop the arms again. One more, same thing. Hands behind the head, arching up and over the chair, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back up. Sitting up nice and tall this time. I'm turning around to face you so you can see me. Sitting up nice and tall at the edge of our seat, we're going to float those arms up into a T shape. And then from here, we're going to tip down to the side. So if your legs are too far in, you might feel like you're tipping sideways a little too far or lose your balance. But you are welcome to do that if you like. But I do want you to make sure both hips are on the seat. So I don't want the hip to be lifting off the seat. Keep both hips on the seat and then tipping sideways. And make sure it's not just the arms tipping, but your body tipping down to the side. Keep your chest forward, so we're not rotating down. Keep the chest forward, holding for 3, 2, 1, coming back up to the center. Drop the arms for a second. Float them back up, same to the other side, keeping both of your hip bones steady on the chair. No lifting, keep both hips down, and we're tipping down to the side, chest facing forward, open those fingers, hold it for 3, 2, 1, coming back up. Drop the arms, one more each side. Reach the arms up, tipping to the side, keep both hips down on the seat, no lifting. Both hips down, chest forward, holding 3, 2, 1, back to the middle, drop the arms. Last time, reach the arms up, down to the side, keep both hips down on the chair, holding for 3, 2, 1, coming back to the middle, and drop the arms. Last one, we're going to do rotation. You're going to take your hand, hold on to the outside of your opposite knee. Then your other hand's going to go around to the back of the chair, grab hold of the chair, sitting tall. Using your arms, you're going to rotate yourself to the side. So you're looking at the side wall here, making sure we're nice and tall. Imagine your spine like a corkscrew. You're twisting on the spot, nice and tall. Nicely done. Crown of the head reaching for the ceiling. And back to the middle, same to the other side. Take your hand, grab hold of the opposite knee. Take your other hand, wrap around to the back of the chair, sitting tall. Twist on the spot, nice and tall. Crown of the head reaching to the ceiling. Holding here, 3, 2, 1, back to the middle. One more each side. Take your hand, reach the opposite knee. Other hand's gonna grab around the back of the chair, sitting tall, twisting yourself over to one side. Really think about the crown of the head reaching to the ceiling. And back to the middle. Last time, other side, take your hand, hold on to the opposite knee. Other hand, wrap around the chair, twisting yourself, rotating your torso, nice and tall through the spine. Back to the middle and rest. Okay, I'm going to turn sideways. You stay where you are. So now we're going to move into the standing portion of our class. So remember, because this is a balanced class, we're working on a lot of weight shifting type activities and being able to keep our center of gravity over our base of support, no matter where you're moving to try to keep your balance. So a part of this is to practice our sit to stands nice and slow. So when we're doing our sit to stands, a lot of the times what I see is people are too far back in the chair. So then when you're trying to stand up, it's very difficult to get your weight over your feet. And then another common thing is often enough, even if we are sitting at the front of the chair, our body is too far back. So it's not over our feet enough to actually bring ourselves up. So what ends up happening is we end up pulling on something to then get us up, or we're like this, trying to push ourselves up. So it's really important that when we're doing our sit to stand, you're thinking about your chest going all the way forward over your feet, almost like someone grabbed your shirt and they're pulling you forward. And they're pulling you so far forward that you can see your feet, and even further forward to get your weight over your base of support, your feet. And then once you have your weight on your feet, then you're going to push the floor away from you to stand. Same thing on the way down. You're bending those knees, chest coming forward. So you're hinging at the hips, but I'm keeping my weight over my feet until my bottom touches down onto the chair. So that way we're avoiding this kind of a standing, we want to get our weight over our legs in order for the muscles in our legs to do what they're intended to do and get us up. So again, nice and slow, join me here. We're bringing our chest forward over our feet. Imagine someone pulling you right over your feet. Get your weight over both of your feet. Your bottom should be off the chair, and then you're gonna push the floor away from you. Squeeze your butt cheeks forward to stand up nice and tall so that your weight is entirely over your hips and over your feet. And then same thing, sitting back down nice and slow. Bend those knees, hinge forward at the hips, chest forward. So I'm folding forward, but I'm keeping my weight over my feet. And then I'm sitting back down. So keep going in your own time. It doesn't have to match the speed I'm doing. I want you to go at a speed that works for you, making sure we're using this technique of bringing our body weight over our feet to do the sit to stand. And we're doing it nice and slow, keyword slow. So we're not going using momentum to push ourselves up. We want to really utilize this control here. You're using your muscles. You're using this idea of keeping your weight over your feet in order to stand up and stay balanced. So that way the back of your legs are not leaning on something to stand. So we're not pushing the back of our legs onto the couch or the chair to then help us stand, but we're using our own legs to do that. Now, if this is too easy for you and you're doing this as slow as you can and it's way too easy, you are welcome to bias one leg. So you can have one leg further forward so that you're biasing one leg and you're still trying to put your weight over that foot as you stand up. And then you will repeat on the other side as well. Or if you're really good, you're welcome to do it on one leg. But if you're really that good, maybe this class is not so much for you, since this is our low intensity, low impact class. So we do want to be targeting those people who are frequent fallers, or you're having a lot of near misses. So we're going back to the basics and trying to get you to work on a simple transfer such as a sit to stand. So keep going. Of course, if you're feeling unsafe with this one, you're welcome to have a wall or a table, a chair in front of you, or someone beside you to help if you need. But I do really want you to work on that idea of having your weight over your base of support before you then push yourself up to standing. Same with sitting down. We're not crashing into the chair on the way down. We're bending our knees, keeping our weight over our base of support, and then you're sitting down. So every movement you're doing is by choice. You're not falling. You're not using momentum, but you're choosing to rise up onto your feet, and you're choosing to lower your bottom down nice and slow, nice and quiet onto the chair. Keep going, nicely done in your own time. Remember, it does not have to match my speed. You do whatever speed works for you, But try your best not to use momentum. Try not to push the back of your legs into the chair to help you stand. You want to be standing on your feet and using your muscles to support you instead of things around you to kind of push you up. Nicely done. Wherever you are, let's do 3 more in your own time. No rush. You're welcome to do it slower if you like. Remember, when you stand, you're thinking about pushing the floor away from you. When you sit back down, imagine your feet are stuck to the floor and you're pulling the floor towards you. I've got 2 more here. Get your weight right over your base of support on the way up and down. We're controlling every movement, nice and smooth. I've got 1 more here. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're still with me. Nice and slow. When you've done your 3, you're going to do 1 more stand and you're going to stay in standing this time. So when you've done your 3 sit-to stands, you're going to stand again and stay standing. I'm just going to readjust my chair. So I'm going to use 2 chairs now. You don't have to, but I'm just using 2 chairs to show you if you wanted to. And I'm going to grab my tissue box to use. I'm going to place it right in front. Okay, so remember when we were talking about balance, when we're working on our balance, we're really trying to get a lot of weight shifting activities, a lot of changing directions, moving in multiple directions with our stepping to try to work on that agility piece. So I've got a tissue box in front of me. You don't need to have one. You can have nothing on the floor, but having a visual target is sometimes a little bit easier for you to step over, and also might add a bit of challenge for you not to crush the tissue box in front of you. So if you would like, you can have 2 things to hold on to. I know they're not the same height. The 2 chairs I'm using is 1 high, 1 low, but that's okay. Whatever you've got at home is fine. You can hold on to just one side or hold on to nothing at all if you don't want to. It's up to you. What we're going to do here is we're going to take our leg, we're going to lift it up nice and high as possible, and we're going to step over the tissue box. And then we're going to take that same leg, big step, back to where we were a second ago. Make sense? So we're stepping over the tissue box. Other leg, big lift as high as you can, stepping over the tissue box. So I'm putting weight on that leg, and then I'm lifting that same leg nice and high to step back over the tissue box. Same to the other side, big lift. Step over the tissue box, big lift, step over the tissue box. Now, if this is too easy, you're welcome to use only 1 hand rather than 2 hands holding on. You can just do 1 hand or no hands at all. Now, if you are holding on for this exercise, whoops, I just done that leg twice, sorry, got distracted with all this talking. So make sure you're alternating legs. Now, if you are holding on, I want to challenge you to not be gripping on for dear life, but you want to see if maybe you can lift those fingers. So rather than doing this, we're maybe just placing our palms onto whatever supporting surface you're using, but you're not grabbing on for dear life. And you can imagine there's some eggshells underneath your palms, so we're not crushing the eggshells, but we're just lightly holding on for some support. But the main purpose of this exercise here is you are trying to shift your weight, so think about your hips, over to the supporting foot and then back over again. So you're moving, you're shifting your weight forward and then back. So it's really important that we're not just doing this. We're not tapping, right? We're not tapping our foot. We're physically shifting our weight, stepping on the leg, then physically coming back. Let me move backwards a little bit because I think my foot's getting cut off. So you're physically stepping, transferring your weight forward, then you're lifting and bringing the leg back. So it's really important that you're trying not to crush this tissue box. So we're not going on the way back or around. So we're not doing this, right? We're lifting up and over, lifting up and over, lifting up and over. So a lot of the times it might feel very tempting to step over and then right away get your other foot over. So you want to avoid doing that. You don't want both of your legs over the box. You want one to be over the box, and you're kind of holding this split leg position for just a second, and then you're pushing back again. And of course, the taller the obstacle you've got in front of you, the harder it's going to be. The further you place the obstacle, the further you're stepping out, and the more difficult it's going to be. But it's up to you how much challenge you want to give yourself today. The main purpose is you're really thinking about the technique of this movement. You're moving your hips over that base of support and then moving the hips back again. Now, if you are doing this without holding on and you're not sure what to do with your arms, you're welcome to reach the opposite arm 2 legs forward, other arm back, open those fingers, and then bring it back in. Same to the other side, stepping over, reach the opposite arm and leg over, and then back. So if you are not holding on and you want to add the arms, you're welcome to do so. But I want to challenge you to go slow. So we're not going to do as many as we can here or as quickly as we can. You're going as slow as you can, because actually the slower you go, the more challenging it is, because you're really controlling that movement of shifting your weight over your base of support, shifting your weight over the base of support. Let's do 4 more here, and then we'll move on to the next one. I tend to talk a little too much. But hopefully those tips are helpful, because remember, when we're talking about working on balance and agility, we're really talking about your ability to move in multiple directions without losing balance. And part of that is getting your base of support nice and steady, and then your center of gravity over that base of support in multiple directions. I've lost count. I think I've got 1 more after this. Too much talking from me. Nicely done. Okay, so now I'm going to move that tissue box to the side. I'm going to move the chair a little bit, because I think in the camera it's hard to see, but I've got too many things around me. But I got 2 tissue boxes. I'm putting them beside my feet this time. And you can hold on again or hold on in front, whatever's easier. So what we're going to do now is we're going to now take our legs and we're going to step out to the side over the tissue box. And then same thing, that leg lifting up nice and high to come back in. Same to the other side. Lift, stepping out over the tissue box. Remember, you're putting weight on that leg, and then come back in. Let me move this chair a little bit, because my arms are going to be, my shoulders are going to be in the way. Okay, so let me do that again. You're stepping out to the side. You're putting weight onto that leg. Big lift, coming back in. Remember not to crush that tissue box. Same to the other side. Big lift, move our weight over. Big lift, back in. Same to the other side. Remember, you can hold on if you need. Make sure you're shifting your weight over that leg. Big lift, back in. Make sure you're holding on if you need. Shifting your weight to the side. Big lift, back in. Again, out to the side. Big lift, back in. Keep going. Remember, it doesn't have to be the same speed I'm doing. You're welcome to go in your own time. And just like before, the higher the object, the more difficult it's going to be. And the further apart the object, the more difficult it's going to be, because then you're stepping out as far as you can. Now, this is our class number 1 for our balance series. So as the weeks go on, you will start to see some progressions coming in. And these exercises, we're going to add more to them. So they are going to become more challenging. But remember, this balance class is targeting those who are frequent fallers. So this happens to be a slower paced class, lower intensity and lower impact. So we're creating a safe environment for everyone to practice some of these balance tasks without feeling like they're too rushed or they're going to fall over because of the speed of something that we're doing. So if this is too easy for you and you're looking for something that's a little more challenging, then you can check out some of our other classes like the boxing class coming up tomorrow, Wednesday. Or you're welcome to have a look on our YouTube video and check out some of our previously recorded classes that might be more challenging if this is not what you're looking for. But I do want to make sure this class is nice and safe for everybody, and we're doing things at a speed and at a pace that works for most people here. Okay, keep going. Remember, it doesn't have to be the same speed I'm doing. As long as you're doing the same movement, you're welcome to do it slower if you like, but we want to avoid this. We want to avoid this kind of crash landing. You want to make it nice and smooth. So you're choosing to move your leg. You're choosing to move your weight to the side and then bring it back in. Move your weight to the side and then bring it back in. If you would like to add the arms, you're welcome to reach the arms as far as you can. Open those fingers, reach as wide as you can. But of course, if you're holding on to a chair, you probably can't do the arms very well. But if you aren't holding on, you are welcome to use the arms. Reach and back in. Reach and back in. So remember, we're working on the ability to move our center of gravity over a base of support without losing balance. And that's exactly where the beginning of this agility practice comes from. Keep going. We're doing 2 more. So wherever you are, 1 more each side, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Nicely done. Okay. Our next one, you're only going to need 1 tissue box. I'm going to stand sideways to you this time. And this time, the box is going to go behind you. So as you probably guessed, we did forward stepping, sideways stepping. Now we're going backward stepping. So you can hold on or not, up to you, but it looks like this. Big lift, step back. I'm transferring my weight back, and then I'm lifting over the tissue box again. I'm just going to move that chair slightly. Same to the other side. Big lift, step back, big lift, step forward. So remember, we're not doing this. We're not cheating and going around the box. We're going up and over the box. Same with on the way in. We're not going like this, but we're going big lift, big push, back in. Other side, big lift, step back, big lift, step in. So a lot of the times when you are a faller and you are falling, you'll probably find that your falls tend to happen either backwards, like when you're, for example, pulling open a fridge door, you aren't able to step back quick enough or far enough, and then you end up falling back. Or it might be as a result of freezing. So your feet getting stuck on the spot, but your body keeps going forward, and then you end up falling forward that way as well. So it's important to work on this kind of multi-directional stepping pattern where you're practicing stepping in all directions, not just practicing walking forwards, but you're practicing moving in multiple directions, turning in multiple directions, and being able to move your arms out of your base of support without losing that balance, without you kind of falling towards where your arms are moving. So as the weeks go on, you'll see more layers of these exercises, the more things added on to each of these exercises to make them a little more challenging. But this is our starting point, practicing this multi-direction stepping, lifting the leg nice and high, putting our weight back, big push, bring our weight forward. Make sure you're not then crushing that tissue box, so try not to touch that tissue box if you can. So you can imagine if you didn't have the tissue box, it'll probably be a little easier because your feet will be closer to the floor. You'll be lifting them less high, and you'll probably be taking a smaller step if there's not actually a physical target. So just like before, With the tissue box, of course, the higher it is, the higher you have to lift your legs, and the further back that box is, the bigger the step you'll have to take it. So the higher the obstacle and the further away from you, the bigger your movements will have to be. But for the moment, just keep the movement wherever you feel comfortable doing today. So comfortable not as an easy, but something that challenges you, but is not impossible to do. Let's do 4 more here. Wherever you are in your own time, remember, you're welcome to hang on if you like. 4 more wherever you are. Nicely done. Remember, you're moving your weight to the leg that's moving. You're moving your weight back. I've got 1 more here. Nicely done. Okay, and we're going to put that tissue box away. We're going to grab our chairs again. Ignore the tissue boxes on the chair. So they're going to be beside you. You're going to face one of the chairs right now, and we're going to practice turning on the spot. And it looks like this. We're lifting our legs up nice and high. We're turning on the spot to the other chair, and then we're turning back around again. So we're doing a 180 degrees turn. You're, of course, welcome to hold on if you would like. Lift those knees up as high as you can. Or if you don't want to hold on, you are welcome to swing the arms. But the purpose of this movement here is you're turning on the spot. So we're not going to be moving. We're not moving around. We're keeping ourselves on the spot, and we're turning on the spot, lifting those knees up nice and high. Feel free to hold on if you need, chest up. Turning on the spot. And if you are swinging those arms, make sure the arms are going back as much as they're going forward. So they're not just doing this, but they're going back as much as they are going forward. To make this more challenging, if you find this too easy, you can try to count the number of steps you take to get around and see if you can decrease that. So for example, if it's taking you, say, 10 steps to get around to the other side, see if you can do it in 8. So each step you take, you're counting, and the less amount of steps you do, the better. So if I can turn around, say, in 2 or 3 steps, so if I go 1, 2, 3, excellent. Okay, so you want to go as low number of a count as you can, low number of step counts to get yourself around. Because the higher the step count, the more likely you are a faller. So it's good to practice how much you can turn, but lowering that step count if you can. Remember, you can hold on if you like. Being careful here, not to fall. Try to keep yourself turning on the spot. We're not stepping out of this point on the floor. So imagine this point you're on the floor, you're staying here. You're not moving out of it. So almost like you've got a little cylindrical tube around you. You're not moving out of the space. Lifting those knees nice and high. Nicely done. How are we doing? Still with me? The quiet chat box is always a good thing. Well, it either means you're practicing with me or you falling asleep. Nicely done. We're going to do 2 more turns wherever you are in your own time. We're doing 2 more of these turns, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. Remember to keep lifting your knees nice and high. And rest. Okay, let me move my chair out of the way. So I just have the 1 chair. So our next exercise is we're now practicing a floor kneel exercise. So eventually we want to be trying to get onto the floor so that way we can do a backwards chaining motion to get ourselves off the floor if we were to fall. But what we're going to start with is you're going to hold on to a chair or a table, whatever works for you. Maybe let me turn my chair around. And what we're going to do here is you're going to step the leg back and you're going to lunge down. So you're trying to get that knee onto the floor, and then we're going to stand back up. If you can't get the knee to the floor, that's okay. You don't have to. You can take a step back as far as you can. Bend both knees. Try to get that back knee as close to the floor as possible, and then standing back up. If your legs are too close together, if you're not taking a big step, what's going to happen is you're going to bend your knees, and then we're going to get a little stuck into the chair and you won't be able to go any further. So it's important that you step back. So like the exercise we practiced earlier, stepping over the tissue box, step back as far as you can, and then you try to lower that knee to the floor. Even if you can't touch the floor, that's okay. Just go as far as you can. But for those who can get their knee to touch the floor, I want you to kneel down and then stand back up, holding on to something. So you can use a chair, a table, whatever works for you, but I want you to be careful. I don't want anyone to crash land onto their knees, okay? No falling. Remember, everything we're doing in the class, we're choosing to do. We're not doing because gravity's pulling us down, okay? So don't let your knee go crashing into the floor. Nice controlled movement here. You'll probably also notice that your legs are working pretty hard to do this movement without you crashing your knee down. Hopefully you're already doing this with me and you haven't just been watching. So remember, if you can't bring your knee all the way down, that's okay. Just step back as far as you can and bend as far as you can and then come back up. So if nothing else, you're still working on your leg strength here. Just doing one knee at a time. Remember, no crash landing, so just be careful. Make sure whatever you're holding onto is sturdy and is not going to tip on you. I know this is probably not the best chair to be demoing on, but unfortunately this is my lowest chair at home without wheels, so this is the one that I'm using. But just make sure you're careful when you're at home. It's probably also best to not use a wall per se, because there's nothing to grip onto and you might just slide down the wall. So it might work better to physically grab onto something, but it's up to you. Whatever you've got at home works fine. Well done, everybody. Let's do 4 more wherever you are. In your own time, 4 more wherever you are. No crash landing. It should be as quiet as possible. So if I'm standing next to you, I shouldn't hear your knees on the floor at all. Nice and quiet and nice and controlled. We're choosing to move and we're not falling because of gravity. Okay, when you've done your 4, you can have a stand up. You can shake out your legs if you like a little bit. And we're going to do our second to last exercise before we cool down. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with our legs hip width apart underneath our hips. Arms are going to be forward. Maybe let me move this way. I'm going to move sideways a little bit because my room is on a bit of an angle, but I have a little bit more space this way. Okay, feet underneath your hips, arms forward, palms together. What we're going to do here is we're going to circle one arm back. So we're rotating our body and you're letting your eyes follow that back arm, and then you're bringing that arm back in. So the purpose of this is we're twisting on the spot, letting our head and eyes follow without us falling backwards as we're doing this. So we're circling the arm back, you're reaching back, you're looking at your back arm, and then bring your arm in. Let me turn sideways. I'm circling back, I'm looking at the back arm, I'm rotating back, and then I'm coming forward again. So as I'm doing this, you'll notice from my shoulder to my feet, still in one line, even though I'm twisting on the spot, my shoulders are over my hips, over my knees, over my ankles. So I'm not going and falling back. So I'm not letting my arms dictate where the rest of my body go. You're trying to make your trunk as stable as you can. So imagine you're separating the arm and head movement from the rest of your body. Whoops, I just hit the wall there. Let me move over. You're keeping your center of gravity over your feet, over your base of support at all times. Even though your arms are moving, they're not pulling you back because you're dissociating that movement from your arm and your trunk. So you're not swinging with momentum and swinging your body back. You're keeping your body nice and solid over your feet. So you're rotating on the spot, kind of like that corkscrew analogy we talked about earlier, where you're nice and tall over your base of support, and you're just twisting on the spot, but we're not leaning back towards the arms here. Nicely done. 4 more here, and then we're going to add on a little bit. Nice and tall. Remember, shoulders over hips, over knees, over toes, over heels. So you don't want to be leaning back too far or leaning forward too far. You want to be in a straight line so that if I covered your arms with a big blanket and I looked at you from the neck down, it shouldn't really look like you're moving other than that kind of twist on the spot. Oops, I think I've done more than 4. Okay, so now we're going to add on same movement, but this time, as you circle the arm back, you're going to move the same leg as arm back. So I'm stepping back as I circle, and then I'm coming back in. Same to the other side. I'm circling the arm, stepping back, and coming back in. If this is too challenging, you're welcome to hold on to something in front of you and do the same like this. So you're welcome to have something in front of you, but remember, I don't want you to grip on for dear life if you can. And as you're doing this, it's exactly like that movement we did earlier with stepping backwards over that tissue box. Even though you're moving back, we're not falling back. We're choosing to place our weight over that base of support and then pushing back forward again. So we're moving our center of gravity over the base of support, over the base of support again. Try not to drag that leg back if you can, or drag it backwards like this. You want to do a big distinctive step. So lifting that leg, stepping back. Lifting that leg, stepping forward. Stepping back. Stepping forward. Stepping back. Stepping forward. Remember, you're welcome to hang on if you like. You don't have to do this without support, but I do want you to practice this stepping backwards movement as you open the arms. So the idea is you're keeping your trunk stable so that if I ignore my arms for a second, the main exercise is from here to here. Or sorry, not the main exercise, that's not the right word, but this part, the trunk, is what's keeping you stable. The arms and legs moving in whatever direction they want is sort of an add-on. So you're moving your trunk. You're moving your trunk over your foot. Moving your trunk over your foot. Kind of makes sense, hopefully? So you're choosing to move your trunk and your torso over towards your feet. Rather than your feet leading and us falling back, you're moving your trunk back over your feet instead of the feet leading the movement, if that makes sense. Nicely done. And of course, the further back you step, the higher you lift your leg, the more challenging it's going to be. Let's do 6 more in your own time. Wherever you are, do 6 more. Hopefully you are alternating legs and you're not just doing one leg. I know my arms are a little cut off. Let me move back slightly. I know backward stepping is a little challenging, but keep practicing. You're moving your trunk over your foot. And you can relax the arms when you've done your sit. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go back to our sit to stands for a moment. So place a chair behind you. We're gonna practice what we did at the beginning with a slow sit down. So we're bringing our weight, we're keeping our weight over our feet. We're not falling back. We're keeping our weight over our feet to lower. And then we're keeping our weight over our feet to stand up. So we're gonna try the sit to stand nice and slow and the stand to sit nice and slow again. And see if you feel a difference in the way that you're moving your center of gravity now. After doing all of those exercises, do you feel a difference with being able to shift your weight a little easier over your base of support? Really think about moving your trunk over your feet and then pushing the floor away from you on the way down, keeping your trunk over your feet, and then lower your bottom down. So everything is slow. Remember, we're not using momentum to push ourselves up. We're choosing to move. And on the way down, gravity is not pulling us down. We're choosing to lower our bottom down. And we're not doing this and pulling with the arms. Make sure you're sitting forward in the chair to really be able to get your weight over your feet. And we're not pushing the back of our legs onto the chair. So we're not doing this, pushing onto the chair to stand, but we're using our legs to help us stand. Let's do one more wherever you are. One more. And then you're gonna sit down and we're gonna stay seated for our little bit of a cool down. Okay, I'm gonna face you. So when you are sitting, we're staying there. So next time your bottom hits the chair from your stand to sit, you are staying there. And we're going to make sure our bottoms are forward in the chair. So we're not slouching. We're not going back like this. We're sitting forward in the chair, nice and tall. Our weight is over our hips. And we're going to bring one leg out to the side and then the other leg out to the side using your hands, putting onto your thighs. You're going to sit up tall and hinge forward at the hips to feel a stretch in your inner thigh from the side. Legs wide, hands onto the inside of your thighs, sit tall and push forward. So you're pushing your legs away from you, but you're hinging forward at the hips, spine nice and long so you can feel a stretch on your inner thigh. But as you're doing this, you want to make sure you're sitting forward in the chair, because if you're too far back, you're not really going to be able to hinge forward. So you want to make sure you're sitting forward and then you're hinging in front of you like so. The straighter your back and the more hinged you are at the hips, the more you feel that stretch. And coming back up, legs in. We're going to bring one leg forward like so that it's straight, sit up tall. Again, spine nice and long, hinge forward at the hips. And you're going to reach those hands down towards your knee if you can, or your shin, your ankle, depending on how flexible you are. But you should feel a stretch in the back of the thigh of that straightened leg. Keeping your spine long if you can, hinge forward at the hips. And then we're going to come back up, same to the other side. Straighten that leg, sit nice and tall, hinge forward at the hips. Reach your hands down to your knee, your shin, your ankle, whatever you can reach. Spine nice and long if you can. Nicely done, coming back up. Okay, we're going to do a thigh stretch. Now, I'm going to face you for a second. So we're doing this in sitting, but of course, you're welcome to do your thigh stretch in standing. If you're able to, you're welcome to pull the heel up towards your bottom to stretch your thigh, or place it on a chair behind you if you can't hold on to your foot to stretch your thigh. But we're going to do this in sitting. So you're welcome to do it standing if you like. But if you are doing sitting, here's what we're going to do. We're sitting at the front of the seat, and we're going to turn sideways slightly, okay? You're gonna take your front knee, you're gonna slide that foot back and drop that knee towards the floor. Your knee is going towards the floor, and then you're going to lean back in your seat to really open up the front of your hip, and you should feel that stretch in your thigh. Just make sure you got something to hang on to so you're not falling back off the chair. Coming back up, bring your legs back in, same to the other side. Drop that knee towards the floor, so you're kind of on a diagonal. You're dropping that knee towards the floor, then you're leaning back in your seat to really open up that hip. So you want to open that hip towards the ceiling, like so, and you should feel a stretch in the thigh. Make sure you're hanging on to something. I know it looks a little strange, but I promise it works. And then coming back up, let's do one more on each side. If you find it easier to do it in standing, please feel free to do so. But if you're someone who can't do it in standing, you're welcome to do this kind of seated position. Reach that knee to the floor to feel that stretch. Make sure you're leaning back into the seat. Coming back up, last time, other side, drop that knee, lean back, really push that hip forward, push that hip open. You should feel it in the hip and in the thigh. Coming back to the middle. You're gonna reach those arms up as high as you can go. Stretch the fists into the ceiling as far as you can. Open those fingers nice and wide and circle those arms out to the side like a big yawn. We're gonna do that again. Clasp the hands. Reach up as far as you can, like your torso is getting pulled out of your hips. Go, 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 reach, reach, reach. Open those fingers, reach, big yawn out to the side. One more. Clasp those hands, reach up to the ceiling as high as you can. Go, 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 really pull your spine upwards and reach. And rest. Thank you, everybody. That's it. You finished week 1 of our balance series. How are we doing? We didn't lose too many people, so I'm glad to hear most of you are still here. How are we feeling? Hopefully we're okay. So, excuse me. So remember, this balance class is our low impact, low intensity class. And it's meant for those who are frequent fallers or people who are having a lot of near misses. So if this is, oh, I'm losing my voice. So if this class is too easy for you, please sign up for our other classes that we have listed. If you're looking for something that's higher intensity, you're welcome to look at the rock setting boxing class tomorrow on Wednesday. I think it starts at 2 o'clock. And any of our future classes coming up, including a hand and dexterity one in the next couple of months. So definitely have a look at that. I think I talked way too much today, so my voice is all croaky, but I hope it was helpful today, and some of those tips in terms of getting your weight over your base of support will really help for your balance. But remember, everything we're doing, we're going to progress a little bit as the weeks go on. So hopefully this is helpful, low intensity, so you can really, really slow things down and practice some of these techniques. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, you're welcome to send me an email. So our email is info@Parkinson Society BC. Let me just write it down. info@parkinson.bc.ca is our email if you want to ask any questions. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next week. Bye. Thank you.